Hello everybody out in YouTube land, it is Corey from Gemini Guitar back for another beginner tutorial today. Having said that, this will benefit players too who haven't already studied the musical alphabet and learnt the note names over the fretboard. Now if you haven't already done so, you'll need to understand how to figure out the string names, which is, let's face it, not very difficult to do, but there is a video on that. There's only actually 5 to learn because the low sixth and the high first string are the same note E, just in a lower or a higher octave. The other video you're going to want to look at is whole and half steps explained, because that's at the core of what we're doing here. So what we're going to do in this video is just do maybe 2 or 3 strings just to demonstrate it, and from that point you should have a firm grasp on what you're going to need to do for the rest of the strings to learn those and all the note names working up the fretboard. Also note that once you return to the 12th fret, that is the octave. So from that point, the whole fretboard simply repeats itself again. So it's open fret to the 11th fret, and then the 12th fret is a repeat of all the open strings in the higher octave. So within the musical alphabet, as I mentioned, there are 5 whole step intervals and 2 half step intervals. So in a practical context, we can see that on this string from the beginning. There's the E, which is the open string. And when we proceed a half step, we simply move to fret 1, and that's the F. Now we'll skip ahead a bit just to demonstrate the other one. So the B is at the 7th fret on this first string. And then a half step from that point is C. So E and F. And they're the only 2 half step intervals in this group of notes. The rest are all whole step intervals, which makes now learning this whole bunch of notes pretty straightforward. So we are going to do this on a few strings, as I mentioned, and then from that point you'll be able to go and do the rest on your own. So we've done E to F, that's on string 1. From that point we've got a whole step interval because F to G. From the G to the A is a whole step, so that's onto the 5th fret. Then from the A to the B is a whole step. We've already done B to C, we'll do it again though, and that's a half step. C to D is a whole step, so that's moving to the 10th fret from the 8th fret. And then finally returning to the octave from the 10th fret on D to the E note at fret 12. And that is a whole step interval. So as you can see, it's not very hard to do. The only thing is you're going to have to do the sequence from a different point on every string, except for the 6th and the 1st, because they are just the same note in different octaves. So let's do the B string, and this is good because we get another starting point for the half step interval. So B is our starting point, move up to the 1st fret for the half step. C to D, whole step. D to E, whole step. Another half step interval, E to F. F to G is a whole step. G to A is a whole step. And back to the octave from the A note, so that's A to B, and that's a whole step. Okay, so let's go from the A string. And this demonstrates a leap from the open string and a whole step higher. So like I said, you think of this as an invisible fret behind the nut. That's our open string A. We're going to skip over the 1st fret because remember that a whole step's made up of 2 half steps. So A to B is a whole step. 2nd fret. Now we've got B to C. 2nd fret to 3rd fret. Now we've got the C to the D. That's a whole step. And next we've got D to E, which is a whole step. Another half step interval, E to F. F to G from the 8th fret to the 10th fret. And finally G to A, returning to the octave, and that's a whole step. Okay, so I'm going to let you do the rest on your own. I will be providing a PDF of the complete fretboard, probably up to about the 15th fret, just for a bit of overlap. So you can learn or get a good starting point from the 12th fret when it comes time to do that. And so you can download that over at the website, geminiguitar.com.au. So most guitars have dots, and they're going to be on the 3rd, 5th, 7th, 9th, and 12th fret. Now, I'm not sure whether it's just a coincidence or intentional, but a lot of these dots are natural notes found in the musical alphabet we've been studying. So, for example, if we go to the 6th string right up here, that is the 3rd fret, and that's a G note. Now we move over a whole step onto the next dot, and that's an A note. From there, another dot, the 7th fret, and that is a B note. And this actually continues onto the A string and the D string, at least for these 3 frets. So let's have a look at that. So on the 5th string, we've got C, 3rd fret. Another dot at the 5th fret, we've got a D. And then another dot at the 7th, and that's an E. Move on to the D string, we've got an F at our first dot at fret 3. Got a G at the 2nd dot, and that's the 5th fret. And the last dot there, or not the last, but the last one in this part of town on the fretboard is at the 7th fret. It's sort of like a bridge, a safe bridge to walk, and then you get to the rest of the stuff from there. So you really don't have to learn a lot on either side of these, because these cover most of the notes, or just about half of them anyway. So, and then you've got the octave there as well, of course. So you've really just got a couple of notes either side of these key dot areas to learn. So that's something I would recommend keeping in mind as you're learning the notes, and that'll help a lot, and just to make sure that you're doing it correctly. Once you get better at it, you can try not starting at the open string, which may become a sort of safe zone to start from, or a safe point. So you can start on different points within the fretboard. So you could start, say, at the 5th fret on the 4th string, and that is a G note. And make that your starting point, and then proceed in order of whole steps and half steps like we've discussed and looked at in this video. And that's going to help you as well. It'll get you a little bit out of the comfort zone, and the higher you go up in the fretboard, generally when you're starting out, it does get a bit freaky to learn, but as you get better at it, you'll realize that it's actually quite easy once you repeat it enough times and work with it a bit. So anyways, I'm not going to waffle on anymore. Just go ahead and check that out. Go over to the website, download the PDF. And that's about it for this lesson. So until the next one, bye for now.